Are you struggling to decide if it's finally time to switch to an electric car? I want to bring you up to speed and show you exactly what you need to know before you consider driving electric for the first time, including where you might charge it, how you might charge it, apps, battery concerns, running costs, and one major consideration you have to take on board before you're considering to switch to electric cars. I want to be as clear as possible and avoid anyone being confused. So by the end of the video, you'll know exactly if switching to electric is right for you. I'm Alex and I've lived with an EV for a few months now, and I've gone to the extreme and bought a super cheap one with limited range, but you don't have to do that. As we're now in the second or even third generation of electric cars, things are much easier today. New cars today can easily do 250 miles on a single charge, some even over 400 miles. So that range anxiety is kind of a thing of the past for most people. But you may still have other worries about switching, which I'll address later in the video. Used electric car prices have gone down too. So even if you're on a budget, you can pick up a really good used electric car for a fraction of what they used to be when they were new. This car only cost £2,400 and it's got automatic headlights, it's got automatic wipers, it's got cruise control, very smooth, quiet, comfortable, keyless entry and keyless start. You can check more about this car in the other video that I made here. But first, let's talk about your lifestyle, and this is the first thing you need to consider when you switch to an electric car for the first time. Because not everyone suits an electric car, and that's fine. If you're constantly driving longer distances, 3 or 4 hours with minimal breaks, and timing is critical for your job and your schedule, then maybe it's best to stick with your diesel or petrol car, especially if it works for you now and you don't have to worry about charging and stopping every few hours. But that's not most people. Most people do short trips to work, to shops, to the gym, maybe to visit family on longer distances. And even if you do drive longer distances every now and then, you might already stop for coffee, for a toilet break, for lunch, or even just to stretch your legs after driving for so long. And this is where you can plug in for a little top up of your electric car. So think about this. If your driving habits already include a stop every few hours, you're probably already a good fit for an electric car, even if you don't realize it yet. Remember, if your daily commute or daily driving is 20 miles, you don't need an electric car with 400 miles range. So electric cars are a no-brainer. So even before you think about price, apps and charging, just ask yourself, what does a normal week look like for me behind the wheel? Reset the trip counter on your car on a Monday morning, say, and then drive in the week as you would normally, and then check it the following Monday to see how far and how many miles you've actually driven. It might be a surprise to you how little it might be. Check your calendar in the last few months or even the last year to see how many long trips you've done in that time. You might be surprised at how little that is too. But everyone's circumstances are different, of course, and you need to check these things first. If you don't drive 200 miles back to back every day, then you might already be ready for the switch. So let's talk budget. The amount you want to spend on your electric car will dictate what kind of electric car you can get. So let's show you what to expect for different price ranges. Under 5k, you could grab a second generation Nissan Leaf now, which has 150 miles of range. That's a solid improvement of the old ones like mine. They're comfortable, they're full of tech, and they're a reliable car. Under 10k, you've got many options like the MG ZS EV, which is more of an SUV. Then you've got the MG5, which is an estate car and has longer range. Or you can go for the electric Vauxhall Corsa as a compact city car and daily driver. All of these cars have got really good range as well. The 10 to 20k range is where it gets really interesting because most of the used cars available on the market today fit in that space. You've got the Tesla Model 3s, you've got the Hyundai Ioniq 5s, you've got the Polestars even. Basically most electric cars from the last few years where you're going to hit 200, maybe even 300 miles on a single charge. And a lot of these cars are ex-company cars as well, so they should have been properly looked after. Then of course there's new electric cars through leasing and through finance deals. Then there's company cars through your employer, and of course with that is salary sacrifice, which I'll explain in a future video, so hit the subscribe button to be sure to check that out when it comes out. And if you're thinking electric car prices are still too high, wait. As I'm filming this, the government have just introduced a new grant on electric cars, which offers up to £3,750 off a new electric car. There's not a full list of eligible models yet, but that's coming very soon, so you might want to hold off your electric car purchase until those confirmations are coming out as to which cars have the discounts. Just a quick note on depreciation, as older electric cars did lose their value fast, especially early models like what I'm driving now, this early Nissan Leaf. But things are stabilising now. Newer cars with better range and tech are now holding their value much more. It's important to think of electric cars like technology and not just a car. The older it is, the more compromises you're going to have to make with the range, with the condition of the battery, with the charging speed and with the features. The next part could literally save you hundreds of pounds every year, so be sure to watch carefully and take note. Now let's answer one of the biggest questions. Where are you going to charge it? If you've got a driveway, you're mostly sorted. Install a wallbox charger or just use a 3-pin granny charger like I do. Charging overnight at home is by far the cheapest and easiest option. If you don't have a driveway, there are cross-pavement charging schemes available now. Some councils are fitting lamppost chargers. Workplaces more and more and all the time are installing charge points. More of that in my other video as well. And even gyms, shops, supermarkets are all joining in with charge points accessible for their customers. So even if you haven't thought about it before, at some point during your week, say when you go shopping, you're going to be in contact with a charger, even if you can't charge at home. There are plenty of apps that show you your nearest chargers, and even Google Maps, as of 2025, have actually introduced this feature where much more chargers are shown on the maps now. And yeah, I've created a video that goes into the best ways and cheapest ways of charging your electric car, so be sure to check it out after this video, of course, so you can make sure that you get the best rates when you charge your electric car. Also, at busy motorway chargers, you might need to wait for your turn if they're already busy, but I've not found that so far. It's just a little rule of thumb, which is when you are done charging, make sure you unplug your car and move your car away from the charger, even if you're not leaving yet. Electric car etiquette is a thing now, and you don't want to be that person who annoys everyone else. Also because if you know what you're doing, you can charge your electric car for just a few pence a mile. Like I said before, check out my other video on that to see how much you could save when you charge your electric car the right way. The next part is where people get really stuck, but I can teach you how to avoid it. Some people might not be good with phones or technology in general, speaking about some of my parents' generation here, and that's okay, because most, if not all electric cars, work without apps or anything at all that you need to connect to it. But the right apps can make things way easier, especially when you're starting out. The main one that covers most bases to find most available chargers is called ZapMap. Like I said, it's the go-to in the UK for public charging. It shows availability, pricing, speed of charging, which plugs are available. So if you're low on charge and need a quick top up somewhere in an area that you're not familiar with, then ZapMap is a good solution. Most modern electric cars have their own app too, which you can pair with your car. You can check the battery level, you can set the charging timer, you can look at the climate control and change that overnight as well. So when you're ready to go to work in the morning, it'll be nice and cool on a hot day, and it'll be nice and warm on a cold day. All very useful as well when you want to monitor things remotely too. Again though, apps aren't essential, but if you want to stay organized and be a bit more planned ahead with your charging, then they're a great way to work out where you're going to charge and how. Because even charging out and about nowadays using the big rapid chargers, most, if not all of the chargers have contactless payment options. So you can just turn up, plug in and tap your ordinary debit or credit card, and you don't have to worry about having the right app on your phone. This was just introduced to new EV chargers recently in the last year or so as well. And I think it's something that the government has caught up with after a very long overdue wait for this problem to be solved. Because before you'd have to have lots of different apps to use the right charging network and pair that app with the right charger and get it working all through your phone, and didn't have the contactless payment option before. And now it's much easier. There are actually some downsides to electric car ownership, which I'll introduce later. But first, if and when you get an electric car, how does the servicing and maintenance work? Servicing is cheaper. There are no oil changes, there are no spark plugs, and generally fewer things that can go wrong that are serviceable in an electric car. And there's not much mechanical work going on either. There's hardly any moving parts. There's no clutch exhausts or catalytic converters that can be stolen in petrol or diesel cars now. It's becoming more common. Plus, brake discs and pads last longer because electric cars use something called regenerative braking that uses the motor in the electric car to slow down rather than the brakes and the brake pads. Actually, regenerative braking is one of the best things on electric cars. Also, with an electric car, you're getting really low running costs if you're clever with your charging too. So your fuel costs will be a fraction of what it would be in petrol or diesel cars. The argument is that new electric cars are slightly more to buy up front, but I don't think you should buy a new car anyway. Also, insurance is a little bit more expensive with electric cars when you compare it to petrol or diesel. But the extra money that you do spend on insurance, you actually save on tax, because my, for example, electric car, this car I'm driving right now, the Leaf, is only £20 a year. And the equivalent petrol or diesel car will be at least 165, maybe even 200 or 300 pounds a year. So a major shift when you first think about buying an electric car for the first time. You can't think just about the upfront cost. Think about the long term and how long you'll own it for, because the maintenance costs and the reduced costs that you have to do to keep the car on the road are going to be a lot less than they would be in a petrol or diesel car. So even if the upfront cost might be higher, especially on new EVs, down the road it will make more sense. And if you're living in a busy city like London, there's ULEZ to comply with, and all different kind of clean air zones being introduced across the UK, Europe and the whole world, which essentially forces you to get an electric car or a car with better emissions just so you can drive in and out of the city without penalties. Just another point as well, that if you live somewhere cold, in the winter there's a slight dip in the range, which could be anywhere between 15 and 30% depending on the model. It's not anything to worry about, and it's not the end of the world, but it's just something to consider if you're going on bigger, long trips in the winter. Let's not hide anything, and I want to be completely honest with you. Electric cars are not perfect. Here's the stuff that people forget to tell you about electric cars. Yes, you can't fill up in just 2 minutes. Even the fast charging may take 15, 20 minutes or even 30 minutes if you're running low and need to top up to a high percentage of battery. Public charging can be expensive if you don't plan ahead properly. Not all chargers work every time, which is not always the charge point operator's fault. I'm seeing a lot of people online who report vandalism on chargers where they cut the copper cable and they sell it on, I guess, which obviously renders the charger useless. But most of them are reliable, don't worry. And of course, the upfront costs of buying it brand new for electric cars are and can be higher than their petrol or diesel equivalent. But there are a few examples. For example, Vauxhall have price parity. In other words, the petrol or diesel car is the same as the electric car in some cases. Their tyres wear out a little bit quicker, and it's something that you should consider when you switch to an electric car as well, when you want to look at the maintenance cost that you might be spending on it. If you tow a trailer or a caravan, then definitely check the towing capacity as well of the car that you're buying, because some electric cars don't have very good ratings for this as well, or might not be able to tow anything at all. But the electric car space is getting better for this as well. Most importantly though, you can't drive one and compare it to a petrol or diesel car. You do have to change your mindset, and this is the biggest shift. But once you understand what to do, it's easy. This, I think, is the biggest reason why people are hesitant to switch to an electric car. It's not about the cost, it's not about the charging, it's the learning. It might be unfamiliar to you. Electric cars are different. They're not complicated, they're just different. In a good way too. They're automatic, they're silent, they're smooth to drive, they're quick as well in lots of cases. They don't vibrate, there's no engine, there's no oil, there's no emissions, there's no exhausts. But there's a battery, and that's what scares most people. So let me reframe it. If you're not constantly worried about your engine blowing up and going wrong, then you shouldn't have that same concern with batteries in electric cars. Batteries in electric cars are actually reliable, even if you read other reports that might not tell you that. And they can be checked just like an engine. Just like you do with a petrol or diesel car, you can have your car serviced every year. And also, servicing an electric car looks completely different and costs generally a lot less, because simply there's just less parts to maintain. But part of that service will be a battery health report, something I recently did with my 10-year-old electric car, which you can check out in this video here. And be sure to subscribe to not miss my next video to explore what electric car ownership really is like. And I've got lots more exciting content coming in the future. Also, most electric cars come with an 8-year or 100,000 mile battery warranty. So if you're buying used and it's under 8 years old, then within reason, then you're probably covered already with the battery warranty. And that's extra peace of mind for people that are worried about the battery. Here's a checklist of things that will happen when you first make the switch to an electric car and that you'll have to be comfortable with. You'll make mistakes at the start, just as I've done as a first-time electric car driver. You'll forget to charge it and plug it in, and you'll panic the first time you get below 20 or even 10%. And that's totally normal. It's a new territory as well. Plus, we're all human, we all mess up sometimes. But after a few weeks even, it will get easier. And most importantly, over time, you'll just stop worrying about it. So don't beat yourself up. You're learning something new, and you've already taken the first step just by watching this video. If you still have any concerns, let me know in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer every single one of you. Watch this video next, and I share my experience with my budget electric car. I hope this video helped, and until next time, peace out.